What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Route Runners podcast. I'm your host, Jared.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
I just woke up from a nap, so I sound like awful.
That's fine. My Wi-Fi has been terrible all day. My YouTube was literally just loading like the entire time. So we'll see how this goes. But today we got round 5 of the Ultimate Redraft for you. We do have some news that we have to get to first. First and foremost, Ryan Fitzpatrick, former quarterback of literally every team in the entire league, just retired. It's been like, 17 years or something in the league? And
probably something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
He spent a lot of time with the Jets. He was drafted by the Rams. He was on the Bengals, the Bucks. He not ruined Jameis Winston's career, but kind of like, I don't know. It was much more of a question mark because Fitzpatrick arguably made the Bucks better when he was there and when Jameis was there too. Same thing with the Dolphins and with Tua. So Ryan Fitzpatrick's had a great career, and it sucks to see him go.
Gonna miss watching Fitzmagic.
What else do we got? Aaron Donald, literally about 15 minutes ago, just signed his extension. It looked like the two guys that I drafted first in this redraft, in Aaron Donald and Deshaun Watson, may not play this year because Deshaun Watson's getting into maybe. Well, it was like Donald could retire if he doesn't get money or whatever, which I never really thought was that big a deal. But James, you kind of laid out a lot of the contract details if you want to tell everyone else.
Well, apparently he didn't sign it yet. So
Oh, really?
So he'll probably sign it at some point when we're recording this. But it's a 2-year extension, I think, and he would in 2023 he would make 65 mil. And then if he plays another year with the Rams or retires, he'll make an extra 30 mil. So they're basically just saying that he has to finish his career in LA or else he won't get paid. So
I think he will. And I mean,
I don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of the details, Aaron Donald's always just going to be underpaid just because of how good he is.
I was going to say, it's the type of player you kind of just give him a blank check and be like, here, write down a number.
Yeah. Not a lot of people like that, but
yeah.
So it seems like we're getting at least 3 more years of Aaron Donald. At least two. And then if he,
which I don't see why he'd retire after 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's all just weird. Talking about him retiring. But
again, it's a sneaky move because if he either stays with the Rams in 2024 or retires, he'll get an extra 30 mil. So the Rams are going to have him for 3 more years, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they just add the 30 mil on now. He's not going to go anywhere.
He shouldn't. I don't see any reason as to why not. I mean, there's a good chance that they win. Well, not a good chance. There's a chance that they win the Super Bowl the next 2 years that he's under contract anyway. So we also have some OTA news in terms of contracts. Kyler Murray returned to Arizona, which is good, or to Arizona's OTAs, which are good. It seems like he's not going to really be holding out, even though OTAs kind of mean nothing. Training camp is really when you want to know who's going to be holding out, what's going to be going on throughout that entire thing. And Dalton Schultz, of all people, is holding out of OTAs because of contract disputes. I'm against players holding out regardless, and this one just makes absolutely no sense. His success, I think,
he had one good year, and now he thinks he's the shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
He just knows Jerry Jones has money. That's the only reason there.
Spoiler alert, I have maybe 20 offensive players written down. Dalton Schultz never even entered my mind for this. I think he's fine. I think he's a good fantasy tight end, but I think his success is solely based on the
Cowboys offense, having so many targets.
I don't think he's actually that good. But anyway, I mean, if I need a tight end later in one of the later rounds, maybe I'll consider him, but nothing now. So, all right, we ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What?
No, I just coughed.
I also made a spreadsheet for everyone to kind of maybe follow along a little easier. We don't have to write these. Wait, hold on. I Can't see the scroll bar. We don't have to write these down in here. I mean, you can, like, while we're going, you can if you want to. I don't really care. I'm probably not going to be doing it for myself. It's just for you guys. It's a lot easier to see who's on every team, and it's a lot easier for our viewers too. And I put the position for. I did my best. I not everyone's exactly like linebackers are kind of hard to decipher. Like it could be a defensive end or outside line. It's just relying on what their teams currently run. But I just kind of did my best. It doesn't really make a huge difference. But that's just what I did. So James is up first, the widely regarded best team in this redraft. That's what the team looks like. So James, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't know why I think this is the best team, but it's just because of Mahomes, I guess.
Well, I mean, Mahomes with protection and 2 defensive players that were steals. I don't know. I'll give it to you.
Well, we're gonna make it 3 defensive players who were steals. You guys know who it is, so I'm just gonna type it.
We do.
Yes, it's Justin.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. My theme of the last draft was safeties, and I guess I'm gonna add to that draft because I think we've been neglecting safeties, or we've kind of been oblivious to them because there's just still so many good safety talent. So Justin Simmons is one of the top safeties, and he's going in the 5th round. So you may as well get him. Again, I think he fell and right into the Jaguars' hands. That's it. There you go.
Yeah, he's definitely underrated. I'd agree. So you know what? Everyone seems to love the Jaguars, but I want everyone to love the Lions. And I'm going to make this offense unstoppable. Already have Josh Allen at QB, Jamar Chase at wide receiver. So I'm going to give Josh Allen another target. Oh, wait, where is he? And that is a tight end, Darren Waller. This guy pretty much, it's almost like he's more of like a wide receiver, honestly. He's just so fast and so big, runs routes well, has good hands. I think the combo of Darren Waller and Jamar Chase is going to be lethal, especially with Josh Allen at QB.
All right. I like that. So with this Texans team, I've gone all defense so far. It was my kind of really my only strategy team. That wasn't English. But,
I love burping. Sorry.
Aaron Donald and Chase Young on the defensive line, AJ Terrell and Antoine Winfield in the secondary. So I think with this team, I'm going to go offense for the rest of the draft, or at least the next 3 picks. It depends how long we do this draft for. But I was going to go quarterback, but I decided not to because I'd basically just be throwing one of these quarterbacks into the fire with absolutely no offensive help. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather just wait to get someone that may be a little worse than what's available right now and get better offensive talent around him. And I think when you do that, you have to help the run game. And I don't think that this guy is the next best running back on the board, but my friends at home are going to hate this. If you know anything about my fantasy team last year, you'll know how much I love this guy. Jason loves him too. It's Javonte Williams.
Javonte.
Wow, I haven't heard that in so long.
A couple more months.
Is he better than guys like Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler at this point in his career? No, I don't think so. But does he have the potential to? Absolutely. He's only 22 years old. He split time with Melvin Gordon last year and still led the entire league in broken tackles. So I think that that's something that you got to show for. Last year, he didn't really have any injuries where guys like Chubb and Eckler have. So I'm going with the running. This Texans team is going to be giving Javonte Williams a huge workhorse role because there's nothing else on the offense, and we'll see how it works.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So who do the Jets have? The Jets have Aaron Rodgers. That's really all I need to hear. He's an older fella, so he'll probably need some protection on the O-line. And I've never heard of this guy personally, but apparently he's one of the best centers and apparently the highest paid center in 2020. And it's where is he? I don't even know how to spell his name.
I think I know who it is.
Yes, it is Corey. Oops.
Corey
Lindsley. Don't know how to spell his last name.
Sniped.
Oh, I sniped you.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about this guy. but I think he's apparently the highest paid center in football, and he was on the Chargers, I
He
believe.
was.
So I know it hurts, but Aaron Rodgers needs a guy he can stick his hands under. So, and I meant to say it like that. He meant to, he's being paid the big bucks for a reason, and I think Rodgers could use that as center. So, get him the highest paid center. Why not? Obviously, I can fill out other positions like tackles, but I think a good center is important, especially to Aaron Rodgers, the back-to-back MVP.
All right, so I'm gonna stay on the offensive line here. Give Justin Herbert some protection now, along with his receiver Chris Godwin, and I'm gonna take a tackle. This guy's kind of been underlooked most of his career, just like he's always played on bad teams, and he's most infamously known for his draft day video of him smoking a bong. Mr. Laramie Tunsil. He's a big guy, great blocker, good in the run game. He's really well rounded, and like I said, I think he's really underlooked and underrated just because he's been on the Texans, and like as a unit, that offensive line's been pretty bad. Very recently, or not very recently, but like past couple of years, and he's been a guy who's always been there and been solid.
All right. So this Panthers team has a pretty good offense so far with Deshaun, which again, we don't know if he's going to be playing, but we'll see. Minka in the secondary, Teron Armstead and Amari Cooper with that offense. So I'm going to help out the defense a little bit here. And this is another guy that's like, I don't know. I feel like not a whole lot of people really talk about him, but I think he's a really good edge rusher for the New England Patriots, Matt Judon. I don't know. He played with Baltimore for a while. He's not terribly old. I think it's a solid pick for the Panthers defensive line that is pretty much non-existent right now. So you need some help there. And I think, he was probably the best player on that Pats defense last year besides J.C. Jackson. So let's give Matt Judon to the Panthers.
Okay. I'm telling you right now, I did not do my research this week or at any point, but so it's gonna take me a little bit of time to make picks. Just trying to think of who to take. Let's see. I'm trying to remember who else got taken, so I don't take the player by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this Bears team needs an edge rusher. Because they have no, I looked at the wrong team. The Bears have Lattimore and Byard in this for their secondary. So I think that they should either need like an outside linebacker that rushes or like an edge rusher. And I think this guy has been overlooked because he only played one game last year. And Jared likes him because he signed to the Vikings this year. So Zadarius Smith.
Like him.
Huh?
I do like him.
Yes. Again, I think he only played one game last year, but he's good. That's all I can really say. I don't really have much to say because again, I really didn't do research on him, but I think he's still a really good edge rusher, and I think he'll make a good impact for this Bears team, especially with a secondary like that. So he's gonna have to pressure the QB to throw the ball a lot, and it's gonna lead to a lot of contested balls or picks because you got Lattimore and Byard there. So Zadarius. Wait, yeah.
Okay. So Falcons, they already have their QB, Russ Wilson. I just drafted him, Penei Sewell. So now I think it's time to give Russ Wilson a target, and why not give him one he's already had so much success with, and that is Tyler Lockett. I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Russell Wilson, when targeting Tyler Lockett, had a perfect passer rating, like 158.3, whatever it is. So, these two have a crazy connection going on that I think you could make the argument he's the best receiver available. I wouldn't say he is, but I think just for this team, he's easily the best one just because Russell Wilson's already there.
All right. With Denver, they got Stafford and Diggs, a solid offensive connection there. You got Marlon Humphrey in the secondary, Kenny Clark to help stuff the run game. I'm going to help Matt Stafford a little more on the offense, and I'm going to go with some protections. The first offensive lineman I'm taking since like the middle of round 3. I'm going with Joel Bitonio. Don't know
Yay,
a whole
Joel.
lot about Joel Bitonio. I just know that he is one of the highest graded guards on PFF over the last couple of years. And I know that he's on the Browns, who have had one of the most solid run games ever since they've gotten the Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt duo. They have been great on the offensive side, running the ball. And I think that works really well for Denver, even though they don't have a running back, but still it just worked well for the Broncos offense.
Yes. Okay, so if people have been following this, they realize my Seahawks team is all about the run and stopping the run. So I think the Seahawks team needs more defensive run stopping help. And I know this guy's old, but he was one of the main focal points of a choked Super Bowl defense, and it's Grady Jarrett.
That was
good
going to
play.
be my
Yeah.
that was going to be my pick if I didn't pick.
I think he just got overlooked because he's old. But again, he was one of the best players on that Atlanta Falcons defense during their Super Bowl run. And I still think he's been one of the top players on that defense, besides obviously AJ Terrell. And yeah, he's old. Is he old? Actually, I don't even know.
I don't think
He's
that old.
He was drafted
he's
in
29.
Okay, he's not that old. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, he was drafted in 2015. So I guess we just overlooked him, but I mean, yeah, the Falcons defense sucks, but he's probably one of only probably 2 good players on that team. And he stayed with Atlanta, so that means he's also loyal too. But again, he was probably one of the best or the best player on that Falcons Super Bowl defense. So add him to a team that loves to run the ball and stop the run, and you got a nice combo there. If we run all out blitzes with the Seahawks, any running back will get 0 yards. Just saying.
Okay, so as you guys know, with this Commanders team, trying to recreate a Brady Super Bowl team. So I'm just kind of going off what the Patriots would do, I guess. And I'm finally moving away from the offensive side of the ball. And I'm going to get a guy who actually plays in the secondary, but he can kind of do everything. He's pretty good in coverage and can also play down at linebacker. He probably leads his position in tackles every year. I'm not too sure about that, but I know he's a pretty big guy for his position. And he's been one of the best for a long time. He's just getting a little older now, I believe. He's probably like lower 30s. And that is Harrison Smith.
Jared likes that pick too.
Jared loves that pick.
I do. All right. This is tough. There's a lot of like defensive guys that I like this one. So with the Vikings, we got Lamar and Jonathan Taylor on the offensive side to help run the ball. And then you got Eric Hendricks to try and stop the run, and Pat Surtain also in the secondary. Nice young star. I'm going to go with a guy that's very similar. His name is very similar to who James picked in with the first pick. I'm going with Jeffrey Simmons. Really good run stuffer for the Titans. He got like 3 sacks in that playoff game against the Bengals, which, I mean, I probably could have also because that Bengals offensive line is just so bad. But I think Jeffrey Simmons will fit well on this Vikings team. You get one player that's really good on the defensive end or the defensive line, really good linebacker in Eric Hendricks, who can kind of be the quarterback of the defense. And then you got a really good lockdown corner in Pat Surtain.
Okay, so this Browns team needs a quarterback, and there are no good quarterbacks at all. So this kind of sucks. But I think that I don't know, actually. I'm like stumped here. I don't know who to take, and they need a quarterback. So This is tough. I'm thinking Davis Mills, but I'm not taking Davis Mills because that just doesn't make any sense.
Ooh.
What, you like Davis Mills?
No, I don't have him. I wasn't expecting to hear that name. That's why I said.
Oh, so this is going to be interesting and probably controversial, but they need a QB, and with the talent that's on the board, it's really hard to kind of trust any of those guys. It's hard to trust anyone. So I'm going to dip into the rookie QB range and go Kenny Pickett here.
Ooh.
He hasn't proved anything, but he was the only QB drafted in the first 2 rounds of this year's draft. So if that says anything, then I think he oozes potential. But yeah, it was either him or Davis Mills, and I think I'd rather take Pickett at this point because, yeah, Mills was on the Texans and he did have some nice flashes, but I think there's a reason why Pickett was taken in the first round. So I think he has potential. I'm not going to let his small hands really I don't get why that's even an argument because Burrow had small hands and look at him now. So I don't like that argument. So I think he'll be a fine QB. And look, he's a rookie. I think he will have a good season. And if he has a bad first season, well, you have him for what, like 5 years? You can pick up his 5th year option too. You get him for a minimum of 5 years. So just ride the wave out with Pickett instead of trying to throw your hat in the ring with a QB that's either old like Cam Newton or Davis Mills, who we have no idea about. But I know we don't know nothing about Kenny Pickett, but he's probably better than Davis Mills, in my opinion, even though he hasn't played a snap of football yet in NFL. Still, it's better to take a shot at a rookie instead of just Cam Newton, who's washed. So, or get Jared Goff, who's also washed. So, rookie QB.
All right. So for the Ravens, I'm just starting to realize I've gone heavy on defense and haven't really helped out my, I guess can't really call him a rookie QB anymore because he started 1 game, but he's still a very inexperienced QB. So I'm going to give him some help now. And I did this with the Cardinals. I took a running QB and a good running back, kind of create a read option, little offense there. And I think I'm going to do the same thing with the Ravens. And I'm going to give him one of my favorite running backs in the league, Austin Eckler. Yeah, he's a small guy, so you'd think he's just a shifty guy and catches passes, which he does do, but he also plays very big for his size. I mean, he can run over people despite being 5'9". I don't know. He's really small, but he's really well-rounded and balanced, which you wouldn't really expect from him. I mean, I guess he's looked at as a elite running back now, but I still think he's pretty underrated, honestly.
All right. So with this Dolphins team, my quarterback is Daniel Jones, which I don't really know if that's going to work. And then A.J. Brown and Rashawn Slater to help out in the offense. I only have one defensive player, obviously, in Myles Garrett, who's one of the best defensive players in the league. So I think I'll be all right on the defense side, and I want to help prove Daniel Jones just a little bit more. I'm going to go with a receiver that I think has been very overlooked in his career just because he's the wide receiver 2 on his team, and that's T. Higgins. I think that he's one of the more underrated receivers. And again, just because Jamar Chase is there, no one really talks about him a whole lot, but he was really good in year 1 with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I think he had over 1,000 yards and over 7-ish touchdowns. And he's just, I don't know, he seems very consistent so far. It seems like he's going to be a rock there for that Bengals offense. And there are some games that he even looks a lot better than Jamar Chase. So I think that him and A.J. Brown is a really, really cool wide receiver duo for Daniel Jones, and hopefully he can be very successful in this offense.
Colts have Mr. Macurate Jones, and he has a weapon in Davante Adams. And I think I'm going to add to that weapons list because you can never have enough targets. And this guy was complete trash last year, and he was also injured for most of it. But I still think he's a high talented receiver. It's just he had a very terrible year this year, but it's Julio Jones. I know you guys probably think that's a terrible pick because he sucked last year, but
I just was not expecting that at all.
Oh,
I didn't either.
That sounds
It's not.
bad. to me.
It's not bad as long as he's. I mean, if he's healthy,
If he's healthy, he's insane.
monster.
Yeah. So that's the problem. As long as he's healthy, he'll be fine. And I mean, we saw him as a wide receiver too. He was not great, but we know Mac Jones likes to throw the ball and spread the ball. So if he has Devontae and Julio out there, then I think they're both gonna get a lot of target shares, and it's gonna be a lot of work for those defensive backs whenever they play the Colts. I just think he's a nice pairing to Devontae because I think again Julio's still a talented receiver. He just got hurt a lot, so if he's healthy, then Mac Jones has a wide receiver 1 at wide receiver 2. Probably a bad pick, but who cares?
Okay. For the Chargers, once again, this team I haven't really helped out a QB who a lot of people aren't a fan of, Carson Wentz. However, I already explained I still feel like he could be a good QB. So I'm gonna give him a little help, give him a offensive lineman. And there's another player I feel like is pretty underappreciated, but he's been a part of he's probably a top 5 offensive line past couple of years, a run heavy offense. And this guy can play anywhere on the offensive line, pretty much, pretty versatile. And that is Braden Smith. I mean, I don't really have much more to say about him, but I think he's just very well balanced, very good at what he does. And he's going to help protect Carson Wentz. And I'm probably going to try and get him a receiver next round because the defense looks, I wouldn't say set, but I have a pretty good foundation on the defense right now where I don't really on the offense yet.
All right. So the Saints, we got Kyler, J.C. Jackson, who's not a quarterback. I don't know why it says that. Darius Slay, so it's a really good corner duo, and DJ Moore. I want to get some help on the front 7 for the Saints team. I'm going to go with this guy's been very underrated his whole career. I'm going with Demario Davis. If you play Madden, which I don't do that anymore, but you know that Demario Davis is underrated and he's a very good middle linebacker. Everyone talks about Darius Leonard and Fred Warner, and rightfully so, but this guy's not too far behind him. And I think that, it's not really a steal at 146 because I wouldn't have considered him that much earlier, but I think it's a good pick. And he goes back to the team that he's on currently. So
I was actually, what is this, the Eagles? I have all offense for this team, so I definitely need a defender. And I think that I'm following you with bringing back someone who's on the team already, and it's Fletcher Cox. I spelt that name wrong, didn't I? No, I got it. Okay. Yeah, he's old, but I mean, I think he's one of the best D tackles left on the board right now, and might as well bring him back to Philly. He was a staple for, again, another Super Bowl defense, probably the best lineman in that Super Bowl defense for the Eagles. And again, he's old, but he still gets it done. He has the talent to get it done. Obviously, there need to be more pieces around him because he can't just be the only one on defense and call it a good defense. But I think with bringing Fletcher Cox back to Eagles, it's fun because you did the same thing last pick. So Fletcher Cox. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be following that same trend.
That's okay.
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of Steelers guys left.
I mean, you could have taken Pickett, but
Yeah. Well, I was planning on taking Pickett here because I don't have a QB, but I'm actually not gonna go with QB. I don't think it's worth taking any of the QBs left here. So I'm gonna go on the defensive side of the ball, I guess we're staying there from the past 2 picks, but this is the last safety I have written down, and Sky, I think he led the league in pick 6s a couple years ago. He used to be a ball hawk at safety, but I feel like teams just haven't really been throwing at him anymore. And he's still an elite safety, and he's not really that old. And that is Eddie Jackson.
Oh, I forgot he existed.
Yeah,
That's a good pick.
he's a decently good player, I'd say. He's all right.
All right. So for the Pats, they got Jameis, Quentin Nelson, and then we have Brian Burns and Stephon Gilmore. Yeah. Okay. So I can kind of go anywhere here. I got some pretty good range. I don't know. I feel like a Belichick move would be to just go more defensive heavy.
Or draft the
And
worst
this
offensive lineman ever.
or that. Yeah, Cole Strange is the pick at 149.
I don't know. One of my Patriots friends was like really backing that pick the other day.
I mean, well,
He's
I
like,
feel like
no,
you have
Belichick
to,
knows what he's doing. He definitely would not have been there in the second round. I'm like, okay, sure.
I mean, he has to as a Patriots fan. Like, he can't say. I mean, he could say it was a bad pick. Like, he's just trying to make himself feel better.
Yeah, I guess so.
I never will understand that. But
Me
anyway,
neither.
I'm gonna go with another edge rusher that will play on the other side of Brian Burns. And I didn't really think that this guy was having as good of a start to his career that he actually was. I don't know if that was English either, but whatever. I'm going with Rashawn Gary. Nope, for Green Bay. I mean, again, ever since Matt LaFleur has got there, everyone's been raving about the Packers offense, and Rodgers won MVP 2 years in a row. But really, the Packers defense has kind of been a very underrated unit in the entire NFL. And I mean, yes, like James was saying with Zadarius Smith, he really didn't play a whole lot last year, and Rashawn Gary filled in perfectly for him, and they're going to be perfectly fine without Zadarius Smith on that defensive line. And Rashawn Gary is good. He's young. He had some issues with injury in college, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite. But this just kind of seems like a Patriots pick. Just go with another edge rusher, even though Jameis needs a lot of help on the offensive side. But yeah.
So this team, the Raiders have Trevor Lawrence. So if anyone knows that, or if anyone knows his whatever, I was gonna say if anyone has seen Trevor Lawrence play, we know that he needs weapons and he needs some offensive protection. So I'm gonna go with a tackle who I feel like, I don't know if he's underrated or overrated or properly rated, but he was one of the O tackles on one of the best running teams in the league, the Browns, and it is former Titan Jack Conklin.
I think he's underrated. He's good.
I think he's 27, so he's still young. He was one of the O tackles on that Browns offense that made Dearness Johnson look like a star. So I think if you have him protecting your blind side, then I think Trevor Lawrence will be able to have more time in the pocket and make better reads without having to feel the pressure of someone coming behind him and obviously sacking him. So I think if you have that guy blocking Lawrence's blind side, he can obviously make smarter reads to Keenan Allen or just take off if he needs to. Or he'll if you give him more time, then he will make the right plays because Trevor Lawrence is good. And he'll obviously throw the ball accurate if he doesn't have to worry about pressure from his blind side and sensing that pressure and trying to throw it away or something or making a bad read. So I think that Conklin will help with Trevor Lawrence's development in a big way.
All right. For the Cardinals, I took Darius Leonard in the first round for them, and then I haven't really thought about the defense since. So I'm gonna go back to defense, and I'm gonna give him a corner who honestly I didn't even think about until just looking at players 2 minutes ago. This guy's kind of been, I don't want to say overlooked. He's always been the second or even third corner on his team at times, just because he's always played alongside really good corners. But I think he could be a cornerback one for a lot of teams because he is very talented. And he did kind of get hated on for a while because he did have a problem with letting up double moves and stuff like that. But he's gotten better since, and he's still a very good cornerback. And that is Marcus Peters. Oops, not Marcy's. Marcus Peters. He's also still pretty young, I believe. Let me see. He's 29 years old, so he's getting up there, but he's not in his 30s yet. So I'd still classify that as young enough. I mean, let's see. He had 4 interceptions last year, 3 the year before, 2, 5, 3, 5. Like, he's a ball hawk. He's always going to get interceptions for you, bat the ball away. I mean, he had 8 interceptions in his rookie year. So I'm happy with this pick in the 5th round. And I feel like there isn't too many corners left. So I'm glad that I found him here.
All right. I just want to check the age of someone.
You do that.
I have like 4 written down. Am I frozen?
No.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Well, it said my connection was unstable. I don't know. But obviously they have a safety in Matthew already, so I don't really feel like doing 2 of them. So I'm going to go with an edge rusher. Or not an edge. I'm going to go with the defensive lineman. This guy hasn't really been talked about since this team made the Super Bowl a few years ago, but I'm going with Arik Armstead. Nope. He's young. He's 28 years old. I thought he was honestly younger than that, but I think it still works. I mean, help out the defensive line, and because there's nothing else on this defense. Again, I don't really know a whole lot. I can't really analyze a lot of Arik Armstead, but it's a solid pick.
Yes. Okay, so this Bills team is kind of a mess and all over the place, but we do have one thing, and that's identity. And we have Bradley Chubb on defense, so get Nick Chubb on offense, and then boom, your problems are solved. Full Chubb on both sides of the ball. So that's all I need to say. All chubbed up on both sides of the ball. It's gonna be a fun time in Buffalo. That's it. Done.
All right. So for the Titans, what I've done on defense so far is it's kind of like it's a very versatile defense. Like I have Micah Parsons who could play middle linebacker or edge to pair along Von Miller. And so I kind of want to bring that. I'm going to bring another versatile player, I guess, to this defense where you can really mix it up. You know, you could have Parsons at, like I said, middle linebacker or at edge. And I'm bringing in another player who I'm going to take as a safety. But realistically, he could play as middle linebacker, and even in college, he was an edge rusher at times.
Oh. I think I know.
You think? All right. I feel like you've done this a lot, and it's always been I've never been that guy. So who do you think it is?
I'm not saying because I feel like
because if it's
taking
not,
my pick
then
next.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think it's James's favorite player.
I think so too.
Oh, it's not even is Isaiah Simmons?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh wait, is Jared?
He's a Madden legend, but I don't know about a legend in real life.
Jared is frozen.
Yes, he is.
Well, so Isaiah Simmons, great guy.
Like I can hear you, but my thing's been freezing.
Okay. Well, okay. I think you're better now. Wait. Yeah, it's a little better now. So, yeah, he's a tall guy. He's a big guy. He can play safety, linebacker, edge rusher. I feel like it's going to be tough to game plan for this defense, which, like, obviously won't really matter because we're just doing this on Madden. But, you know, it's just cool to talk about. Like, you don't know who's going to be playing what position. It's kind of like a positionless team right now, I feel like.
All right. So Tampa Bay is very offensive heavy so far. We got Kittle in the first round, drafted Joey Bosa in the second round, Creed Humphrey in the third, and Baker Mayfield in the fourth. I want to help out Baker because there's a lot of offensive weapons still available. And there's also a lot of safeties that I still really like on the board. I'm just gonna go safety, help out the defensive side. Actually, no, I'm gonna kind of take the same approach that I did with the Dolphins in drafting T. Higgins, and getting like a 2 receiver set for that team. And I'm gonna kind of do the same thing with Tampa Bay. I'm gonna give them Garrett Wilson. So that is the second rookie that I've drafted. I don't know. Every time I've watched Garrett Wilson highlights, he just looks like an absolute stud to me. I think that he reminds me a little bit of Jalen Waddle, just a little bit less fast, but probably a little bit of a better route runner. And I think that he'd be a great wide receiver for Baker Mayfield. It is just wide receiver 1 because his other weapon is Kittle technically, but having Kittle and Garrett Wilson in the same offense, I think would work out pretty well. You get a really shifty, fast, great route runner receiver, and you have George Kittle who can help block and is obviously a great receiver because we know how good George Kittle is. So,
yes. Okay. So I think this is going to be an interesting pick. It's definitely someone I know. This is someone that's not on on either of your radars, because it's just kind of out there. But I think he has the potential to be one of the best middle linebackers in the league. And he was the 2020 Defensive Player of the Year, and it's Patrick Queen. I know it's out there, but
When you said middle linebacker, I got scared.
no. I don't know why I thought of him. I just kind of looked him up, and I remembered that he did decent in 2020. And I know the Ravens finished last in their division, but I don't know. He won Rookie of the Year in 2020. He's extremely young. So throw him on that defense with who else? Let's see. Throw him on that defense with Jair and Cam Hayward, and I don't know, man. Good things may happen. It's a shot in the dark, but I think it has the potential to pay off.
Chase Young won that year. I think you're thinking of I think you're thinking of college football championship.
I may be. Hold on.
Because that's the year they won it all, right?
What am I thinking of? Hold on.
I think so. Well, yeah, they won it all, and then he
He
immediately
was
went
third
to
in
the.
Defensive Rookie of the Year votings. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I don't really care. I'm still sticking with it.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's fine.
It may have ruined my team, but whatever.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick with middle linebacker, and I think this guy is one of the most underrated. I've said everyone here is underrated, but whatever. He plays on a shitty team and a shitty defense, so he gets overlooked a lot because they're never good. But this one player is very good, and that is Deion Jones. He had let me look. I have this up. He had 137 tackles last year and 2 sacks in middle linebacker, forced a fumble. He didn't have any interceptions last year, but the past few years, he's had 2 or 3 interceptions every year. So, I mean, he's a very fast guy. He's a big guy. He's still young. He's 27. So I still see a bright future out of him. And I'm pairing him alongside Derwin James. So I feel I've got 2 guys who can fly out there on defense. So I'm excited with this defense. Even though I only have 2 players on it, I think it could end up being very good.
All right. This Chiefs team is kind of similar to the team I just drafted with Tampa and the Dolphins, like I was talking about before. Really young quarterback with only 1 defensive player. But the problem is the defensive players on the other teams were Myles Garrett and what's his name? Joey Bosa. And this one's Kayvon Thibodeau. Don't really know how that's going to work out. So I've been saying that there's a lot of safeties that I really like. I'm finally going to pick one. I'm going to go with Micah Hyde from the Buffalo Bills. And like the Bills, everyone's saying that this is their year to win the Super Bowl. And I mean, yeah, I kind of agree, but everyone also kind of doesn't really know. Like there's not a whole lot of stars on this team. They're just kind of full of a bunch of really good skill position, or not skill position, just full of a lot of really good players and not a whole lot of great players on this team. But I think Micah Hyde is probably the best of like the really good players. I mean, you have him and Jordan Poyer on that defense, which is probably the best safety duo in all of football. I just think that Micah Hyde is a little bit better. They're both like 31, which I didn't know. They're both older than I thought that they were. But I still think it's a solid pick, and beef up your secondary a little bit. There are a lot of good safeties left, not a whole lot of good corners, so just go with the safety position.
Okay. Bengals. They need defensive help because they only have Trayvon Diggs, so that's not great. So I'm gonna give him an edge rusher here, and he is on the older side, and he always does get hurt, but it's JJ Watt. I don't know, he always gets hurt, but if he's healthy, he's a dominant force off the edge. So yeah, risk it for him. I don't know. Just if he's there or he's there in the fifth, and you need some edge rushing help, which the Bengals do, then take JJ Watt, honestly.
Yeah, no,
if
I was
he's
actually
healthy.
I was considering him in the fourth, so like that, I think it's a good pick.
If he's
I just-
healthy, then he will be
Yeah.
good.
Okay, so now with the Rams, I feel like I've helped out Kirk Cousins a lot lately. So I should go back to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm gonna add on to the defensive line. Take an edge rusher he's 27. He's recently broke out. It was like 2 years ago. And that is Hassan Reddick. I believe he just signed a pretty big contract the year before. And the past 2 seasons, he had double-digit sacks. He's a really athletic guy, comes flying off the edge. So I think the pairing of him and Chris Jones is going to be pretty good.
All right, so that wraps up round 5. There are not if you can just see by the list of players, there's not a whole lot of stars really left. Honestly, past round 4. But this is where it gets really interesting. This is, I think, where drafts like this are going to be won, because every pick in the first 3-4 rounds are good. Like, everyone is good. Like, let me just go to a pick that I'll go to my own in Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, I don't know how great of a pick that was. Von Miller, very old. Like, all these guys, like, we don't know, but they're still good picks. Like, they're the elite players. In round 5, I think the talent drop off is there, I would say. Like, when you're looking at some of these players, like the skill just doesn't look, or the talent doesn't look as good as it was maybe in the first 4 rounds of this. But that means that if you hit on the picks in this round, I think it adds more significance to how good your team's going to be in the future. Kind of like fantasy too. Like, you like hitting.
It's hard to miss in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, pretty much the only reason that you would miss is injuries.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like, Javonte Williams, can he take on a workhorse role? I'll just pick one from everyone. Patrick Queen, he's very good, but unproven so far. Eddie Jackson, has he, done everything that we've seen out of him, and is he on the back end sort of? So it could really not work out for picks in this round, which is why I think that this round 6, 7, 8, if we get to it, like, those are going to be the really important ones, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So does anyone have any closing thoughts, any picks that surprised you, any teams that you are really liking or not liking so far?
I feel like I'm gonna be surprised by like every pick from now on, because we don't know who's gonna go where. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, there were some today that I didn't really think of at all, like Julio, Patrick Queen.
Just all the people I drafted apparently.
Well, yeah, just like, I don't know. Eddie Jackson, I didn't see that one coming either. It's not a bad pick at all. I just didn't see it coming.
I didn't either, honestly. I thought I was gonna go QB, but
I didn't think I was going to go Garrett Wilson, but here we are. There are still really good receivers on the board, some that I really like. But my favorite player in the league is still on the board, and I picked Garrett Wilson over him. So,
yes.
all right, that's what we got. Round 6 should be coming out to you next week, and there were audio issues with this, so I'll be editing a little more than I usually have been, but I don't think it was terrible.
There's just like 2 spots where it's bad. Otherwise, it was like completely fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. I know for me it was weird. Like, whenever I was frozen, there was a part where I completely got kicked out, and
Yes.
I don't know if it. I really hope it was around the Dolphins pick. I really hope that it records over that, and it's fine. But
Yeah, we should be fine.
if it's not, then we'll figure it out. I don't know, but so yeah, we hope you guys really liked round 5. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Route Runners Pod, TikTok Route Runners Podcast, and anyone have anything to say before we log off?
I like cheese.
Same.
Of course. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys all for listening. This was great, and obviously, it's getting even better, and the picks matter even more later on in this draft. So, hope that you guys really enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.